We have a newspaper that's failing badly. It's losing a lot of money. It's going to be out of business very soon, the New York Times. I think maybe what we'll do, maybe we'll start thinking about taking their press credentials away from them. When they write dishonest stories, we should be a little bit tough. Don't we agree?
Well, Donald Trump blasting the New York Times after it published in an article hitting at a major discord within his party. Is this just another example of media bias, or is there something to this? Justin Miller is a senior communications advisor for the Trump campaign, and he joins us now. We appreciate you being on the program. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Jason Miller. Very close, but Jason Miller. But thank you.
Thank you, Jason, and welcome back. We should have had that right since you've been on before. And anyway, but the Trump campaign, according to this piece in the New York Times, is sputtering. He only half-heartedly listens to his advisors at times, and it has a lot of unnamed sources. Who are these unnamed sources, and is there any truth to what's inside this piece?
Well, exactly, and this is the trick that the media plays, and this is very much an example of the liberal, dishonest media. Mr. Trump is focused. He knows what he's doing with this campaign. He's laying out a very positive economic vision. Tomorrow in Youngstown, Ohio, he'll be introducing his plan to defeat radical Islamic terrorism. He'll be there with Governor Pence. And these anonymous, unnamed sources, this is exactly why people are so upset and so frustrated with the media. It's ridiculous.
So you're hearing complaints this morning from Republicans about the speech Mr. Trump is giving in Connecticut, in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And the line is, not going to win Connecticut. Lots of states he could win. That's not one of them. It's been a generation since a Republican has won. There are no statewide Republicans in Connecticut. So why Connecticut? Is that a fair criticism?
Connecticut's a place where we think that there's a real pickup opportunity. And that's the great thing about Mr. Trump's candidacy, is that there are a number of these states that typical Republicans don't win or don't have a chance in. We look at Pennsylvania, we look at Michigan, we look at Connecticut. These are places where Mr. Trump has ability to expand the map. So not only is polling right now showing that we're doing very well in places like Ohio and Florida, key battlegrounds, we think we can also expand the map and put the Democrats on the defensive.
I want to play some sound, Mr. Trump talking about Pennsylvania. And the only way he thinks he'll lose Pennsylvania, meanwhile he's down by double-digit numbers there at the moment. Take a listen.
The only way they can beat it, in my opinion, and I mean this 100%, if in certain sections of the state they cheat. Go around and look and watch other polling places and make sure that it's 100% fine.
So the only way he'll lose Pennsylvania is if there's cheating? Is that accurate?
Well, going into Election Day, we think we're going to be in a spot where we're in a very strong position in Pennsylvania. We think we're going to win the state. We think we'll be leading going into Election Day. One of the things that we believe very much is we want open, honest, and fair elections. We want to make sure that that happens in all states. Pennsylvania being a key, important state, we'll be watching very closely there and making sure that we're turning out our people to vote.
And Jason, to go back to that New York Times piece, because it is getting a lot of attention, especially with Donald Trump yesterday saying in some respects that he may consider even removing the press credentials for the New York Times, calling it a failing newspaper. Inside that piece, it talks about him acting erratic and sullen when he's not in front of these big crowds. Is there any truth to that?
Absolutely not. This is just silly. Again, this is a liberal media hatchet job, zero basis in truth. Our campaign team is united with the candidate, Mr. Trump. Again, he's focused. He knows exactly what he needs to do. And when you see these types of quotes from these anonymous, blind, behind-the-scenes sources who don't want to come out and put their name on it, you got to really question the authenticity of it. It's far from the truth. It couldn't be further from the truth.
I think the Times, the coverage of the campaign's been awful, said that many times. I do, though, wonder, do you win votes by attacking the New York Times more than you would by attacking Hillary?
Well, and I'm glad you bring that up. We have to call out the dishonest media when we see this happen. I mean, if we don't call it out, then people aren't going to know that what they're reading is complete falsehood. And that's exactly what we're getting in today's New York Times piece.
You talked about the voter fraud. I noticed that on your website now you're sort of inviting people to sign up and to oversee voting stations and to kind of take a part of this process. What are you hoping these people will do?
Well, having poll watchers with campaigns is standard practice. For many of the folks who are watching this morning, they've participated and volunteered with campaigns. Poll watchers and their regulations that are laid out at state by state level, they go in early. They're volunteering. They're making sure that voting machines are working, that people who are eligible are able to show up and vote in a seamless and smooth fashion. I mean, our philosophy is we want open, honest, and fair elections. Now, if we want to take a different approach, I think the attitudes that we've seen from the Clinton camp is evident by the missing and deleted emails. We see the pay-for-play schemes. We see the corruption that we've seen this past week. We've seen a much different attitude.
Hillary Clinton releasing her taxes on Friday, calling for the Trump campaign to release his taxes as well. Will Donald Trump release his taxes anytime soon?
As soon as the audit is completed, those will be released.
Do you have a timeline on that?
Don't have a timeline on that, but when that process is run its course, then those will be released.
Okay. Jason Miller, Senior Communications Advisor for Donald Trump's campaign. Thank you.
Good.